Season 3 Reloaded has already come and gone at this point, and we're kind of already transitioning to that, well, what's next period. I'm going to start thinking about that in full soon, but we're still a little bit of a ways off from the full reveals of things. But what if I told you that in the near future, that may hold a new Warzone map, new weapons, and perhaps the return of Rebirth Island? Now, I wouldn't expect anything to be confirmed until around early June, with the current end date of the season and current start date of Season 4 being slated for June 14th. But today, however, I want to take a look at some recent leaks to prep you for what may be on the horizon, or perhaps it's not. Today, we're running down the leaks of Season 3 Reloaded and what you need to know along with it. So as we go along, drop your thoughts down below. What are you guys looking forward to in the future here for Modern Warfare 2 and beyond? Anything that you hope to see return, be introduced for the first time? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts below. But if you enjoyed the video, you'll find it added on insightful. Do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing to stay updated with all things Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, and anything COD and anything FPS related here on the channel. I'd love to have you in the community if you're interested in any of that. And finally, check out my friends over at Gamer Advantage for the best blue light glasses on the market, but more on them a little later. For now, let's talk about these leaks here coming out of Season 3 Reloaded. Now, perhaps the one that I think will make the biggest waves here and has already made some decent waves is that of the map Vondel. Now, for those that are unaware, this is something that was rumored for a little while. We saw some leaks here in the past, but Vondel is apparently going to be another Warzone map coming at some point in the near future. With the Season 3 Reloaded update, we saw an actual placeholder image for the loading screen here, thanks to leaker BK Tour. Now, this is similar to what you'd see in Mazrah, Ashika Island, Koshi Complex, Building 21, or any of your MP maps as well. The image that will scroll back and forth as you load in. That's what was leaked here, but in a sort of placeholder manner, where it's something that, unfortunately, I can't show this image on screen. If I can find a link to it, I'll leave it down there in the description below for you guys to check out. But it is something that is a much brighter map by comparison. Personally, I think of it after Rebirth Resurgence in terms of that, not necessarily Rebirth nature, but in the fact of the skybox is very bright, blue sky and everything like that. And it's a much brighter, more vibrant version of a Battle Royale map compared to what we've seen so far in Warzone 2. It's not gloomy like Ashika Island. It's not all desert like Mazrah. It's not all dark like Koshi Complex and Building 21. Now, if the giant marker of placeholder across this image wasn't enough to tell you that naturally this is still upcoming and being worked on, the image of the map itself was rather untextured. Basic poly and geometric designs for the buildings and such. Some things like chairs, cars, and other things have been rendered in, but there's no brick texturing, rock formations, anything like that. It's a very basic layout of what we'll see here upcoming for whenever this does come out. So that begs the question, well, when will this release here? Now, the interesting part here is that it could be something that's much closer than we expect, or still a little bit down the line. One thing that does pique my interest, though, if you kind of chain these reports of leaks together, is that a couple of months ago, we saw a data breach from Activision internal, where somebody ended up getting access to internal documentation here. Nothing like player information or anything like that, where you have to go and immediately change your account information, but more so like somebody got access to the calendar for internal scheduling in Activision, where they ended up seeing a ton of stuff leak out for the rest of the year of Modern Warfare 2 at the time. And one thing at that point was that in the mention of Season 4, there was the wording of small map included with that on top of multiplayer maps, gunfight maps, and stuff like that. So small map has usually always been referred to a Warzone edition here. People thought that maybe this would be something like a small map, like a shipment counterpart or something like that. But instead, that's something that I would say is reserved for Warzone based off wording we've seen and PR jargon we've seen in the past, as multiplayer maps that are 6v6 usually have the tag of traditional MP or traditional maps, ground war maps or battle maps this year, so small map refers to Warzone. So does this check out possibly where this could be a Season 4 introduction? Personally, I'd always imagined that Ashika would have been the map that we had saw leaked previously from that December memo and internal scheduling, and it was moved up in an effort to make Warzone 2 stick with players, but I mean, perhaps this was all along another map that was meant for Season 4, which could indicate that it's way closer than we may realize. I mean, Season 4 is just over 3 weeks away, and this is really one of the first things we're hearing about it. But it's also interesting because according to Charlie Intel, it's not the map for this upcoming fall. While we've already had some hints point towards this being a Resurgence map, this is interesting because Charlie Intel only ever really reports on the stuff that he knows is backed up and is going to happen. But with him mentioning that it's not the map for this upcoming fall, that's interesting because that again puts it in this time frame of now until the end of the year. Now that map that we end up seeing here for this fall and the next Warzone map and the big large-scale Battle Royale map, that right now is looking to be Los Alamos by all indications. The TAC map and all are already in the game, with maps from Modern Warfare 2 coming into that new air quote world as well. So that said, sizing, gameplay features, this is something that we can expect it to be a Resurgence map, but beyond that, will we see it be introduced into like DMZ as well? I mean, with Ashika being a DMZ infill location, I wouldn't be surprised if this is as well something that makes it into the DMZ portfolio. Now, Ground War, not really going to hold my breath on that one. Prior rumors when Ashika Island came in Season 2 ended up indicating we'd end up seeing it as a Resurgence map, a DMZ location, and a Ground War 24v24 map, but that part never came, so for that, I'm not really getting my hopes up just yet. Now, beyond a new Warzone map of some kind, we ended up seeing 2 new weapons introduced here, though albeit not as flashy as you may expect, though there are still a lot that have leaked previously. So we'll go over those in just a second, but we saw with the Season 3 Reloaded update that we had the weapons of the Buzzsaw and the Axe introduced. Now, the Axe is a newer one to my recollection. The Buzzsaw is available via Raid Episode 3. It's actually kind of an integral part to some of the ways you progress through that raid and the storyline and completing it. So that's something that both of those could be coming over at some point into the multiplayer experience. But while again, it's not too flashy that we only saw 2 melee weapons, that's because previously we had seen basically every weapon that looks to be still in the game files leak before. That being the SIG MCX Spear, the Helion or the FAMAS here as it's looking to be modeled, the APC-45, the Devore TS-12, the WA-2000, the Staccato 2011, the Malyuk, comparable to the Ram 7 here, it's a bullpup rifle, the APC-9, the Kama, or rather the 2 scythes melee weapon, the Kali sticks as a melee weapon, and a sword as a melee weapon. So we've been getting about roughly 4 per season. We had 5 in Season 2, but that would mean that with potentially 2 seasons left, because there's not really been any rumors of a Season 6 just yet. In fact, there's actually been rumors to counter that where we're not going to see Season 6, but there's still enough weapons here out of that list for 4 at the minimum here per season, and a few that are held post Year 1 support here, something that we've seen the last couple of Call of Duty games introduce a handful of different weapons, operators, sometimes maps, post the next game launch as well for those that haven't quite moved on just yet. Or perhaps there is a Season 6, but that's still in the works. We'll have to wait and see. But the final thing that I want to touch on is one that is unfortunately not as cool sounding. Like, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but recently in the Season 3 Reloaded game files, there's reference to Rebirth Island, where data miners have found reference to that, as well as a nighttime version for Mazrah in the game files post-update. Now, Rebirth Island, unfortunately, again, don't want to be the bearer of bad news, that looks to be a tie-in to Warzone Mobile with shared assets and all that goes along with that. And if that's the case, while that's previously leaked beforehand, that would make sense that that's why we'd see some strings, not necessarily major assets being in Modern Warfare 2, being indicative of that being a shared sort of thing. Beforehand, we saw that Warzone Mobile's alpha actually leaked a ton of Warzone 2, a ton of Modern Warfare 2 beforehand, so this time it's kind of returning that favor. But Rebirth Island has long been rumored to be coming to Warzone Mobile, so it seems like this backs it up a little further. But a nighttime Mazrah, that checks out on multiple fronts, because not only one, do we have new tools utilized in DMZ like the flashlight attachments actually having some purpose, and the NVGs for Koshi Complex, but also the prior leaks we saw was that we'd have a Haunting of Mazrah event coming later this year at some point. Artist Emad Alden ended up doing a concept for this back in January, and if it looks anything like this, I would be in love. I would be all for that, for both Battle Royale thinking and how this would be working with the Haunting events, but also a sort of tactical nature in DMZ as well, giving a little bit more stakes or tension here to the experience overall. But that said, that's what we learned out of the Season 3 Reloaded update and what we see leak as a result. Let me know your thoughts down below. Before we wrap everything up though, make sure you check out my friends over at Gamer Advantage for the best blue light glasses on the market. I've worked with these guys for over 2 years now, and they have been without a doubt one of the most beneficial partners to my daily productivity. Sitting on a desk for 8 to 10 hours a day, it's definitely something you start to feel that fatigue and it weighing on your eyes. So having tried just about every pair on Amazon you could find, I promise you Gamer Advantage are head and shoulders above anything you'd find there. A little bit more of an investment, but then again, your vision I think is worth investing in. Gamer Advantage are the most comfortable, lightweight, and durable frames on the market, and they're clinically proven with a lot more information, a lot more studies over on their website than I could describe here in the video. If you'd like to learn more, head on over to the link in the description below and you can find all of that we just mentioned. But also, if you want to pick something up for yourself, use code ESPRESSO for 10% off your entire order. But for now, that's what we're going to call it, so let me know your thoughts down below. Do any of these leaks here stick out to you as anything you're particularly interested in? Maybe not so much. Whatever the case, drop your thoughts below. But if you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, and anything COD related. But for now, thanks so much for watching. My name is ESPRESSO. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.